Again, gold's going up because the world is going down. Gold prices were going down for a little bit, and that just popped them right back up again. And we don't see any end in sight here. We see it continuing to escalate. I want to make this clear.
Yeah.
You are not allowed to talk about peace. Not one person in the major media speaking about peace. Only more war. So the more geopolitics escalate into wars, the higher gold prices are going to go.
In a significant shift in the global monetary landscape, gold has now secured its position as the world's second largest official reserve asset by market value, surpassing the euro whilst remaining behind the US dollar. Gold is going up because the world is going down, says Gerald Celente, American trend forecaster and publisher of the Trends Journal. Celente criticizes those who once dismissed gold advocates as lunatics, asserting that more people are now waking up to gold's value as a form of protection. He also predicts the precious metal could reach $4,000 an ounce. Gold prices have surged to their highest level in nearly 2 months, reaching $3,416 per ounce on Monday, as escalating military tensions between Israel and Iran prompted investors to flee to safe haven assets. The latest surge comes as weekend missile and drone attacks between the two Middle Eastern powers have intensified fears that the conflict could escalate into a broader regional war, threatening critical energy infrastructure and transport routes. In response to the escalating conflict, the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, declared a nationwide state of emergency and reinforced its air defense systems. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned that Iran may carry out further waves of attacks and urged the Israeli public to remain vigilant. The situation remains highly volatile and poses a growing threat to Middle East stability and the global economy. Gerald Celente points out that you're no longer even allowed to discuss peace. None of the major media outlets are talking about peace, only more war. As geopolitical tensions rise, especially in the Middle East, gold is likely to rise even higher. Celente concludes by saying he has been buying gold ever since and is thankful for that, but he's heartbroken by what is happening in the world. We're about to explore the video, but first, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay up to date with our latest uploads. Your feedback in the comments is always appreciated.
Gold prices were going down for a little bit, and that just popped them right back up again. And we don't see any end in sight here. We see it continuing to escalate. I want to make this clear.
Yeah.
You are not allowed to talk about peace. Not one person in the major media speaking about peace. Only more war. So the more geopolitics escalate into wars, the higher gold prices are going to go. And at the same time, should they continue to escalate, particularly in the Middle East, you can see, oh, look what happened to Brent crude. Like about, it's gone up about $15 a barrel since it hit its low in May. And you can see Brent crude going to above $100, $120 a barrel. And that'll crash the global economy and crash the equity markets.
Do you think that's where we're headed?
It's not where we're headed, where they're headed. And they're leading the show. And there's, again, there's not a word about peace. Doesn't exist. All they're talking about is a war. So when the revolution began back in the late 70s, that's when I became a political atheist. And I said, as everybody's learning to hate and swallow the crap, I started buying gold. I went into the oil and gold futures market. I bet $5,000 gold. I think I bought my first buy. It was like $163 an ounce. And I played the futures markets. I put a $5,000 bet in gold and oil. I brought that $10,000 up to almost $750,000.
Yeah.
And that's when I quit my job and became a trend forecaster. Jimmy Carter.
I love that. Yeah.
Jimmy Carter spends New Year's Eve with the Shah and his wife. Both him and Rosalind. He comes back and he says the Shah is the island of stability in the Middle East. And as I said, we used to say in the Bronx, BS has its own sound. I said, are those things going to collapse? So again, they taught us to hate Iran then, and they're teaching us to hate Iran now. And people have no idea the facts. So I've been buying gold since then. So I'm very blessed to have that. But I'm very sad to see what's going on. And as you well know, I launched the movement to Occupy Peace well over a decade ago and have rallies. And if the billionaires gave $1 billion apiece, we'd have it tomorrow. But there's not a word about peace. Not a word. And it's only about more war. So I'm very concerned.
The Federal Reserve kept its key rate unchanged on Wednesday as it awaits additional information on how tariffs and other potential disruptions will impact the economy this year. The Fed's policymakers signaled they still expect to cut rates twice this year, even as they also project that President Donald Trump's import duties will push inflation higher. They also expect growth to slow and unemployment to rise, according to their latest quarterly projections released on Wednesday. So far, inflation has continued to decline while some cracks have appeared in the economy, particularly in housing, where elevated borrowing costs are slowing sales and home building. Hiring has also slowed. Such trends would lead the Fed to reduce its key rate, which is currently at about 4.3%. Celente believes that rate cuts are coming, even if not this week. They'll likely happen 2 or 3 times before the end of the year. And when interest rates decline, Celente says, the US dollar becomes weaker, and when the dollar weakens, gold prices tend to rise. Now let's redirect our attention to a video.
As you said, this time. You mean like the last time? 2018?
Yeah.
When Trump was president? The Dow in December 2018 was the worst since the Great Depression, 1931. And what happened? Trump forced Powell to lower interest rates. He did it in January 2019. And, you know, there's a saying by the guy George Carlin, who's a great comedian. He said, it's one big club and you ain't in it. Let's put it together. The Fed is the same club. Who was the Treasury Secretary of the Biden? Oh, Janet Yellen? What was the job before that? Oh, she was the Fed head. So yeah, he's going to force her to lower interest rates. Will it happen this week? I don't know. But definitely it's going to happen. Definitely, I would bet on it. And here's the deal. The lower interest rates go, the deeper the dollar falls. The deeper the dollar falls.
There you go.
The higher gold prices go.
How much would you bet on QE this year?
It could well happen. You know, it's quantitative easing again. They'll do anything they can to prop up the economy. And I believe they're going to lower interest rates at least 2-3 times this year by the end of the year. And they're going to, again, you know, people say sometimes, you know, they call me, I predict the future. I said, nobody could predict the future. There are too many wild cards. And whether they're made by humans or nature. So let's look at one of the wild cards. I thought there would be a crash in 2012. They didn't teach me about quantitative easing in Economics 101 or graduate.
Yeah.
They're going to make up anything they can to prop up this economy, particularly under the Trump administration.
Mm-hmm.
So more fake money.
More fake money, Gerald.
Yep. And with more fake money, the higher gold prices go up. Again, look what they did. They pumped it, the whole world pumped in trillions of dollars of money backed by nothing and printed on nothing to fight the COVID war. And look what happened with inflation. Oh, no. If I'm the Fed head, I'm the power. No, there's no inflation. It's only temporary. No. It's only transitory.
The sharp rise in gold prices followed reports that Israel had launched a major military offensive on Iran, targeting dozens of military and nuclear sites. This marks one of the most significant attacks on Iran since the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s. Gold is traditionally considered a safe haven asset, especially during times of geopolitical uncertainty. As the Middle East conflict escalates, investors tend to shift their money into gold, seeking stability amid war threats and regional instability. Analysts suggest that until the situation stabilizes, demand for gold could remain strong, pushing prices further toward April's historic highs. Join us as we dive into the video for a deeper look. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to stay informed about our latest updates.